we're doing and whether or not it's actually doing what the client wants. And if it's not doing anything for a specific client, we don't do it. Okay? We had instances within this organization where we had a contract to do a certain product. And upon digging down deep, we found that the people who were running the contractors themselves, were deciding what they were going to do. And they were doing it because it was something they could do, and we knew they could do it, and they did it. All right, it may have worked out fine, but there was no client involvement as far as, I want this, which is what we have to do to refine that. The second part has to do with the line of business, as Karen was talking about. We have, well, we were looking at different ways to organize. Before we organized along components. The components were what walked in the door when we formed DMA. Right? We grouped it together a little bit, but it was Army production, Navy production, Air Force production. We grouped it together in production, but that was just making them sit the same floor in the building. Right? We took Air Force overseas and Marines overseas and Navy overseas and Army overseas, and all of that was AFN, and we made that into the broadcasting arm and AFRDS. Right? We haven't necessarily said, okay, what do they all have in common? And that's what we're trying to go for now. We made a working program called Army Production. Well, maybe now, as we look at this thing on the strategic plan, we realize that their number one goal, all those people, their number one goal is to inform. Okay? Because EMA is supposed to do four things. We're supposed to inform the DoD public audiences. We're supposed to entertain overseas. We're supposed to take care of the visual record that is within DoD, and we're supposed to train people. That's the four things we do. All right, not counting stars and stripes. So, if inform is our big thing that we're supposed to do, maybe we ought to organize along the lines of what we do. And that's one of the things that we're kind of going for. And we're using these external pressures like delayering headquarters, the headquarters look. We're using these external pressures as drivers to get us to where we need to be able to do our job more efficiently. Now I'm going to quit. Move on to the next one.
I'm just going to speak openly and hopefully I'll step on anybody's toes, but I'm a little frustrated. I'm sorry. I'm Connie Schuler. I work in RTPO. Formerly, I worked over at AFN for 9 years as a soldier, a senior producer, and operations manager. I'm just a little frustrated because I came here kind of expecting to get an idea of where we're headed, because I have no idea what the state is, and I think we people feel that way, and it sounds like we don't know at all as an organization what our end state is. And I'm also hearing a lot of things about overseas, we're talking about client relationships, and we say yes, and we don't ask them, we don't show them, hey, this is what we're capable of. How can we help you reach your message, your goal? Speaking as somebody who's overseas, I did that all the time, and there was a huge survey that DMA paid for in 2010 that many stations participated in, made focus groups. I was a part of all of that, and I read what came out of that a year later, and we didn't implement anything. So I'm just curious, all this work we've been doing over the last year, the strategic communication and figuring out where we're headed, but is there going to be an end result, or we can see something soon? Will it be implemented? You know, will we actually have results, or is this just an ongoing process?
Ma'am, you can use that microphone that's right there.
Hi, this is Latondra Henley. I'm the production component director. And one of the things, honey, you bring up a great point. And I think one of the issues is just the conversions. And everybody has spoken to it. We have a plan that we're moving, that we're implementing. And it is very much in its infancy stages. In that, we've also had a convergence, what I call in every plan, limitations. And limitations, you have constraints, something that higher places upon you, and that is the BPSR, and that is the delay and arrangement process. Then you have restraints. And also is the finances, because now we have a monetary finance. So we had 3 constraints within the last 3 months. So a lot of people here probably feel like, man, we're getting tossed in a lot of different directions. And you would be correct in that statement. However, the plan is still moving. And because it's in its infancy at the director, he's given a vision, he's working through an end state where he sees the big DMA some point in the future. And we're trying to implement steps to move us through that. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be painful. Anytime you move an organization in a new direction, change hurts. That's why they call it growing pains. Because as you grow, you will have some sacrifices. There will be some things that we have to give up. And we have to be patient through that process. And people may see, well, DMA is all over the place. And even as a leader, because as a leader, we have to answer to every constraint placed upon us very quickly. This is coming. What can you do? This is here. What can you do? And you have to be able to answer to that. So I think from a leadership perspective, and one of the things that I've talked to my guys in production, and I know from an RTPO perspective, you guys have just come back to production. But one of the things I've asked my guys in production to do is just be patient with the process. One of the things we do owe you is that as we go through the milestones of the plan, we owe answers of where we are now. And I think this is a good forum for that. And hopefully we can continue to guide you guys through the milestone process.
So I want to say one thing on that really quickly. We do have to wrap up, and I apologize because there's a lot to talk about, right? There's a lot of things that we have to talk about, folks. We just don't have a lot of time today. But I wanted to just kind of come off of what Colonel Kinley said and what Honey was saying and what Bobby was saying is communicating. I believe that the people, and I'm gonna say leadership, and I mean that loosely, from your supervisor to team leads to all the way up to the strategic management team. I believe that when they walk out of that meeting and they've just had a huge discussion, they do not walk away saying, I've got to keep this secret, I can't communicate this. They are thinking, oh my God, how am I going to execute this now? And unfortunately, what they're not thinking and what we are not thinking is how am I going to communicate this to the lowest level so they understand what this means to them. And this is huge because this is a great forum, right? We're here, we're talking, but we need to do this every day, right? We need to do this on a regular basis. We need to communicate all the way down and make sure that everybody understands what's going on. And what's happening in production or how something might affect production is not going to necessarily be the same way that it's going to affect AFRTS component or HR, right? We're all going to take these things that are going to affect us differently. So it's important that we're communicating these things. Do we always know the answers? No, we don't. Is it okay to say we're talking about some crazy crap over here and we don't really know what we're doing with it? Yes, because your workforce will trust that you are trying to do something and that you're communicating with them. If we're not doing that, we're losing that trust and we're losing those lines of communication.
I would like to just piggyback on that. I know we're running out of time, but I do want to make another call out to our senior leadership. I've asked questions of senior leadership when it comes to Tier 3 and our plan and whatnot. And 2 times out of 5, I'm getting the blank face. So it's really hard to communicate something down to your workforce if you yourself don't truly understand it. And in turn, how do you then turn around and ask the next level to then communicate it down from there? There's a genuine desire to want to know more. And our workforce wants to know more because they want to know how to contribute. They want to be able to be part of the solution. You're not allowing that if you don't include them. And I'm not going to point fingers, but you know who we are. We need to communicate better. And thank you very much for that.
In 30 seconds to wrap this up, unfortunately, as it's relevant, lots of discussion, lots of questions, more questions than answers, unfortunately. But the spirit of this was to be the change agent. As trite as it may sound, I think it's hanging out in my house somewhere. You need to change one scene.
I wanted to answer the question about the in-state because it was clearly stated when they started. You read the vision and the strategic things and results. That's the in-state that we said we want to be. That's the future. How we get there is what we got to figure out. So that's the state of in-state. If you have questions about those statements, the senior leaders of the components, as we move forward, the lines of business, how we manage our resources, they know this. They have the answers because they have developed that.
I'm reminded of standing, I'm going to expose my Army experience, standing in formation as first sergeant, gave his instructions. At the end of it, the good first sergeant says, any questions? No. Never a question. That is dismissed. Everybody looks to their left, everybody looks to their right. You understand? Don't be that private, that soldier. Ask the question, be that change. That's what happened with this whole event. The towns and the membership support team. That's enough. That's enough. We've got too many questions. We need to have a forum. And it's not being addressed in the town hall meeting, it's not being addressed in email, which will always get something on this communication. We need to talk. And so,
By the way,
with that, we're gonna wrap this up.
that mentorship support team was one of the things that came from that survey, and it was driven from workforce up, leadership to practice. So you're here today because of that mentorship program.
So thank you for your participation today. Just go back to the everybody Ryan. Please, copy your supervisors and get your questions. Thank you for calling in on time. See you at 1 o'clock.